Absolutely. I mean, I have more snakes in my axle as I have mentors in my life. So I think that that's, one of the other things is that these sort of gumming up of our systems, gumming up of our experiences happens on a regular basis. I'll share a couple of big ones. So I believe that probably the most memorable snake in my axle experience was when I was really kind of going into my very first interim position. So one of the things that we do is we work with organizations during major and significant and sometimes crisis transformations. Sometimes it's the result of mergers and acquisitions. Other times it might be bankruptcies. Sometimes it might just be, industry shifts that have occurred. And I was going into a fairly significant new industry, and that's not unusual for us. But what was unusual in this case is the pace by which I needed to be ready for that industry. And I did all my studying, I did all my reviewing. I took my intellectual approach, getting back to mentoring, right? I took my intellectual approach. I studied, I researched, I did everything I was supposed to do intellectually. I missed some big cues because I did not reach out to some of my trusted mentors in that space because I didn't have time, or I perceived that I didn't have time, and I missed some cultural cues. I missed some industry cues that were not perhaps out there in the masses. So I think that probably from a mentoring standpoint and from a, getting snakes in your axle and getting your entire professional advancement gummed up, for me, it truly was one of those moments where I knew the moment that I got into it that if I had just reached out to a few of my mentors, I wouldn't have been in that same situation. So I think the result of that was frustration because I knew better, because I had, as I mentioned earlier, more mentors in my life than I could have ever counted. So it wasn't a matter of resources. It wasn't a matter of availability. It was personal choice to throw the snakes in my own axle.